All right. Good day, dear listeners, viewers, and co-political analysts from all over the world. It is the beginning of another great week here in Nigeria, and the struggle continues for the average citizen. When petrol was selling at 617 naira per litre, more than half of Nigerians could no longer afford 2 square meals at that amount. They began eating just once in a day. Now it has been increased to about 1,000 naira per litre. And towards the end of this week, we will begin to see the full impact of that increment. What we are seeing now are just early reactions. They are mostly erratic. When the full impact sets in, it will be a mega disaster. Because as the economy gets worse, there will be corresponding consequence on the state of insecurity across the country. Imagine the number of businesses that will shut down and how that will impact on the unemployment figures. And talking about people falling out of businesses, we have Nigerians falling out of different businesses in different sectors. We have medical doctors fleeing the country as a result of the terrible economic situation. And few hours ago, reports dropped of scores of Nigerian soldiers wanting out of the military. They have, as a matter of fact, tendered their letter of resignation to the Chief of Army Staff. There have been rumors that many Nigerian soldiers were quitting the military as a result of growing dissatisfaction with this regime, but journalists were not able to lay their hands on concrete facts to come out with the update. But this time around, they got their hands on facts of massive resignation of soldiers from the Nigerian military as a result of dissatisfaction with treatment under this regime. And that information dropped shortly after it was revealed that Bill Gates brutally exposed this administration in his recent visit to Nigeria, but they tried to hide it. Now it has been exposed. Before I show you details of these two updates and how Nigerians reacted, let me quickly show you this video that drew heavy reactions from Nigerians. See the video.
The country is going through a very strong phase of reform. And this reform is taking a very bold and hard decision. For example, you might be hearing from home now in the last few days about fuel prices. But can we help it? Can we develop? You use their good roads there. You see electricity being constant. You see water supply being constant and running. What is the critical path to get us there? If we cannot take hard, painful decisions to pave the way, now is to provide the leadership that is necessary, and I'm committed to that. It's not all about politics. If you are afraid of taking the hard decision when it is time to do it, you probably will not be able to build a national consensus any day, anytime.
You heard that. Of course, that was Tinubu speaking in his meeting with Nigerians living in China, talking about taking hard decisions like increasing petrol price in order for us to be able to develop good roads and constant electricity and general development. My simple takes on these are: 1, you cannot destroy the nation's businesses in order to build roads and develop constant power supply. You took a decision to increase the price of petrol, and 8 million small and medium-scale businesses died. Instead of reverting or slowing down on that decision, you increase the tempo by further increasing the price of petrol. Is that how things are done? Definitely not. And secondly, why do the hard decisions not affect the ruling class? At a time that government is asking Nigerians to endure hardship, be patient with government, the government officials are living in unimaginable opulence and affluence. If this is not corruption, I don't know what is. And look at how other Nigerians reacted. Let's take some tweet reactions. This tweet here by Yemi Balogun says, when will Tinubu stop saying he's taking bold, painful and hard decisions to solving Nigeria's economic crisis when such decisions are only causing misery for the poor? Why are you and other political elites not leading by example in your lifestyle? Hashtag liar. That is it. You cannot be saying something and you are doing otherwise. You ought to lead by example. It is clear for everybody to see at this point. And this tweet by Obasuyi Olushola says, what happened to the over-bloated budget and government that you are running? What about the presidential cars you bought this year? What of your promise of 3 months of Nigeria refineries? What of the imported commodities you promised tax-free? Your government is tyrant. And this tweet here by Toyin says, does Tinubu really understand what they call hunger and hardship? Average Nigerians don't understand all this grammar, sir. We only want to live a good and affordable life. And Omobo Olani here posted a picture of Tinubu's new Cadillac Escalade, a picture of his 5 billion naira yacht, picture of his 150 billion naira presidential jet, and a picture of the 21 billion naira mansion built for Shetima. And he wrote, these are part of the toughest decisions made by Bat, Elofokonbale, Yoruba Lokan, Jagaban, Lokan. And he began mocking the Yorubas, I mean those Yorubas who supported him as a result of bigotry. He said, Elofokonbale, these are the things they told you you will enjoy by voting a fellow Yoruba man. And that speech by Tinubu means the worst is yet to come. Petrol will eventually sell for over 2,000 naira per litre in this regime, and taxes will multiply. Nigerians will either rise to reject this slavery treatment or remain as such. Point blank, period. Now, let us take that update that shows the massive resignation of soldiers from the Nigerian military. Look at how the papers reported it. Breaking: another 196 Nigerian soldiers tender resignation letter to Army Chief Lagbaja over corruption, low morale, others, reporters. No fewer than 196 soldiers in the Northeast and other theaters of operation have applied to the Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Taoreed Lagbaja, for voluntary retirement. The action comes amid worsening security challenges the military is currently combating in most parts of the country. Sources have told reporters that most of the soldiers resigning had indicated interest to join the military forces of other countries, including British Army, Ukrainian Army, and other Commonwealth nations. The soldiers, drawn from various formations of the army across the country, according to the list obtained on Saturday, are all junior cadres. The Chief of Army Staff has since approved their formal disengagement. The approval of the voluntary disengagement dated August 23rd was signed by Brigadier O.H. Musa. There have been allegations of corruption in the Nigerian army, which some of the soldiers have blamed on the issue of soldiers overstaying in the Northeast. According to some soldiers, the army is the epitome of deep-seated corruption. They noted that the corruption is affecting the prosecution of the anti-terrorism war in the Northeast. They complained that they were being forced to confront Boko Haram militants, adding that their low morale and lack of willingness to continue to fight made it possible for terrorists to dislodge some military camps recently. They complained of abandonment and accused the military authorities of keeping them on the war front beyond their approved period of stay. Reporters recently reported moves by many soldiers to resign over poor welfare, inadequate equipment, and lack of motivation within the Nigerian army. Multiple sources who spoke to the newspaper had expressed frustration with the Nigerian government's failure to provide them with decent living conditions, modern weapons, and adequate compensation to combat a series of non-state actors ravaging the country. A set of 27 personnel are leaving, and this set is only medical corps, infantry corps, and armored corps are still coming. So many more will leave. Soldiers are leaving because the work is no longer sustainable. People are running every day to join British Army, Ukraine, Russia, Commonwealth Army, and the likes. That is what is happening now, one of the sources in Nigerian military had informed reporters. Even the planned protest, many soldiers are praying it should happen, another source added. You heard that. This is the present situation in Nigeria that they don't want you to know. But find attached one of the letters of resignation. That is it there. You can zoom it to see the name and everything. It took a lot for journalists to be able to lay their hands on this. But you know Nigeria is filled with corruption. There's nothing you can hide from the people. Once they rub some palms, the truth will come out. And that is what you are seeing here. Massive resignation, and as it stands, Nigerian youths are no longer as keen on joining the military as they used to. Imagine sending men to war and you neglect them on the battlefield. First of all, as a young Nigerian growing up, there's really no motivation to want to defend this country with your life. Then these ones decided to do it against all odds, and the government is maltreating them. That's why the sources there said there will be more resignations. And they also pointed out that it was the low morale of soldiers that made terrorists to take over some of the camps they took over recently. So you can see how the war against terrorism is being lost by Nigeria because of the corruption in governance. This is a very, very serious issue that Nigerians must take seriously. And look at how Nigerians reacted. Let's take some tweet reactions. This tweet here by dearest Jessica says, serving as a soldier under Tinubu is a waste of life and time. While he and his co-politicians are lavishing money on themselves, you are in the forest throwing away your life for them, earning 65,000 naira that cannot afford a bag of rice for the family, while they are paying themselves millions of naira. It doesn't make sense at all, not even under this regime. For all the past regimes, why are these guys being treated like this? People who have sworn to lay down their lives, you are paying them pittance while you guys sit there in National Assembly, the executive arm, and everybody paying yourselves billions. But when Nigerians rise to correct these things, it is this same military that will come out and start throwing the tear gas and all that. I don't just know how to understand this. And Damilare Adenola here says, down your tools and resist the oppressive government. Monkey of people no fit they walk, make baboon of politicians they chop. No, no. October 1st, protest. Another one is loading. And President Eniola here says, Tinubu in his desperation to remain in power only takes care of top military leaders as if they will be the one to face fire. That is it. The ones who really face the fire are being neglected. And Lucas here says, situation has risen to its apogee. Difficult times ahead. The military are bowing out. Things are not really looking good. Not looking good at all. And Toby Akimbo here says, resignation galore. That is it. Now, let us look at that update about the recent visit of Bill Gates to Nigeria. Ever since Mr. Bill Gates visited, Bayo Ononuga and his paid media houses have only been pushing the narrative about the visit that makes the government look good. They've been talking about Bill Gates' promise to invest in our education and health sector and the fact that Bill Gates encouraged taxation. But they left out the part where Bill Gates actually called out their failure. Let me show you how Bill Gates called out their failure, though he was mincing words, but he actually called them out. Look at how the papers reported it. Nigeria's economy has stagnated. Nigeria's debt has exceeded 50% of its GDP for the first time since 2001. Bill Gates. He said that even though the revenue to GDP ratio has grown, it is still lower than it was 15 years ago. The result, according to him, is that Nigeria spends less per capita on its people than other African countries with a fraction of its wealth. What a disaster. Nigeria's economy has stagnated. Earlier this year, your debt exceeded 50% of your GDP for the first time since 2001. And while your revenue to GDP ratio has grown, it is still lower than what it was 15 years ago. The result is that Nigeria spends less per capita on its people than other African countries with a fraction of your wealth, he said. While acknowledging that paying of taxes are never popular anywhere in the world, Gates maintained that there are social compacts needed to drive the economy. According to him, Nigerians are more likely to pay taxes when they see the government spending that money to give them a better life. Taxes are never popular. That's true in America too, but they are part of a social compact. People are more likely to pay them when they see the government spending that money to give Nigerians a better life. What a way to chastise a government right in their own backyard. While many Nigerians actually gave Mr. Bill Gates thumbs up for this statement, some other Nigerians were not really okay with the statement. They said Nigeria is retrogressing like 30 to 40 years back. That why is he talking about stagnation or 15 years of retrogression? That is like 40 to 50 years that he is not saying the real truth. Some other Nigerians wondered why Bill Gates should even attend an executive council meeting. Let's take some of the tweet reactions. This tweet here by Victor Esang says, I wish we were just stagnating when in fact we are retrogressing. An air client here says, this shows that either Bill Gates is insincere or ignorant. Nigeria's economy has regressed in the last 9 years and it continues on that path at an alarming rate in the last 14 months. Akim here says, imagine that Bill Gates attended Nigeria Executive Council meeting to tell us how to manage our affairs. Can America ever give Dangote such privilege? Well, they have capable hands there. They don't have any need for Dangote. As a matter of fact, it is Dangote who will start looking for a way to get in. They don't need him. We were the ones that invited him over here. So you can't blame Bill Gates. And Oye B here says, what is Gates doing at the meeting? Does he attend this kind of meeting in his own country? That is the funny thing here. Even in his own country, the country where he thrives to become the richest man in the world, he does not attend this meeting. He is not a politician, even though he acts in several capacities as one, but he is not a politician. He has no business in this kind of meeting. Even if you invite him to your country, you can just have, a meeting with him one-on-one, or you and some officials. But because we lack dignity in this country, you bring a foreigner into such a meeting. This is a shame. And this tweet by Real Victor says, APC should just hand over the government to Bill since he is attending National Executive Council meetings now. That is it. Everything is just wrong with the APC. And that is why we are saying it for Nigerians to know. They said our GDP is at its worst since the last 15 years. When Okonjo-Iweala said it at a meeting, they came out and started lying that she's not saying the truth. We have grown this. We have added 3-point-something%. It is all lies and propaganda. Propaganda and lies are all they have offered so far, and that is all they will continue to offer. But I don't blame them. They are in office. They are looting the treasury, enjoying themselves. Who are the people at the receiving end? It is the common man, the masses. And luckily, they have the number. We have the number. The masses have the number. And if they can come together and unite, like I keep saying it, they will easily correct these things. But you have to ask yourself, are they tired of being treated like slaves in their fatherland? If they are tired, they will react. But if they are not, then they can continue to exist as lower human beings. No complaint. You are tired of being treated as slaves. come out and take your country back. But if you are not, then continue to exist as slaves. And on this note, I draw the curtain for this episode. See you again on the next one. Bye for now.